So I have pressed the button and I'm just waiting for the page to update and say that we're live. And I just do this
We
like,
are live. Hello, everyone. Before we get started, Nick's going to give us a surprise. What's the word? A surprise subject. Surprise subject. But I just wanted to say hello and welcome to the 15 brand new followers that we have got over the last 2 days. So we're now up to 310 followers on our Facebook page, completely organic. And I really, really want to say welcome and thank you for choosing to follow us to help you in your business.
oh, that was really nice, wasn't it? Oh, when I logged on tonight, Vic's like got this really soft, glowy lighting, so I switched my lights off because I never want to miss out. But my monitor's on the side, so I'm only lighting one side of my face. And tonight's topic, I thought long and hard about this today because yesterday, Victoria got me with creativity, which puts the fear of God in me. And I don't think this one puts the fear of God in her, but I just know that she won't be doing cartwheels over it. And I thought that in today's live, we could talk about strategy.
Hello. Do you know what? I'm going to surprise you. I actually really like strategy. Now, I don't like the boring bits and the mechanics of it, but I like talking about it. I like implementing little bits and bobs and I love the outcome. So I think this will work really well tonight.
Oh, here we go then. I I picked strategy because when we did some training on strategy, one of the things that came up was people going like, look, I know the word, I'm not silly, been in business a while. Like, what does it actually mean? And what's the difference between like vision, goals, strategy? Like, aren't they all the same thing? And I thought it was a brilliant question of like actually really coming up with the answer of like what's the difference, and it was in one of our live Q&A sessions, so I was on the spot, and what I came up with, um and it'd be really interesting to see if you have a different take, Vic, just because I like different takes on things, because sometimes something resonates with some people and doesn't with other people. But I look on the fact that your vision, remember I like did this whole journey thing, so like my vision could be that I want to go on a world cruise. That's like the thing that I really, really want to do. And it's my North Star. It's all I want to do with my life is to go on a world cruise. And they take like 100 odd days. And you literally get to like visit every country in the world. Dread to think how much they cost. Never looked into it. Not applicable for my example. So there's my vision. Want to go on a world cruise. That isn't my goal. My goal is going to be. I love Vic is actually wetting herself laughing right now. My my goal is going to be breaking that down into the smaller steps of how I actually get there. So I would say like goal number one would be finding out how much the thing costs would be a really good idea. And then having a look at a realistic time scale. So when you're setting yourself goals, you want to actually turn this vision, this dream of yours into a reality. So I'd look at how much does it cost? Realistically, what sort of time frame do I want it to be to actually achieve that vision? And then I'm going to break it down into even more smaller steps of thinking, right, in the first month, I want to be here. In the second month, I want to be here, so on and so forth. So that's vision and goals. Strategy for me is the answer to how the hell am I going to make all that happen? And I think that people reluctant to have a vision, they're reluctant to do goals because they're so busy worrying about the strategy that it stops them doing those bits. But if you do them in order, I don't think it's that overwhelming, because if you've figured out what it is that you want, if you've figured out the smaller steps, and now all you're left with is how am I going to make that actually happen? What is my strategy for hitting my month one goal? What are the things I need to do? How am I going to do it? What are the mechanics? That's your strategy. is how are you going to turn that goal into a reality? That's how I explained it. Would you explain it any different, Vic?
I'd explain it a lot shorter, right? I would explain it a lot shorter. So, my three things is your vision is your dream. Your goals are your stepping stones on how to achieve that dream and your time frame. And your strategy is your action plan on how you're going to reach the stepping stones.
And that was shorter, I'll give you that.
So that's how I would explain it, right? But I think it's, they're both exactly the same. They're just one's very rounded and storytelling and one's very straight to the point, right? Which is why I was laughing because I love how we're so different in our minds. I just think it's hilarious. So I absolutely adore strategy in the sense of it's a really good visual thing for organisation for me. And I reflect back on the strategy every time I feel myself veering away from what I'm supposed to be doing.
And I think the other thing is that you can change your strategy as many times as you like if it's not working. Like the goal, if you've set it right, your analogy, the stepping stone, like the stepping stone will stay the same. But the way that you're going to get to that stepping stone, you can shake up, you can change. If it needs a little tweak to it, great. If it needs putting in the bin and starting again, great. You're still focused on your dream and you're still focused on those stepping stones of how to get there, but you can change up as much as you like. You haven't failed. You tried a strategy, it didn't work, no problem, try another strategy.
Yeah, and the reason I use those stepping stones is because you can really look at that in your head, right? So think of the dream, the vision being at the end, and it's this beautiful holiday chalet that you're going to stay in. The stepping stones are quite far apart on this quite, deep stream, rivery style thing. So you need to make your way between each stepping stone, but sometimes you're going to be using a boat because it's so far away. Sometimes you're going to be using just really, really long wellies because it gets a little bit shallower. Sometimes you're going to make a bridge with some sticks. Like, it doesn't matter how you get to the next stone. All that matters is you actually get there. And sometimes your bridge might break, you need to put your wellies on. It's just using that really clear example that everyone can relate to. Because who hasn't been down a little woodland, stepped on some stones over a stream? Like, who hasn't done that either as a kid, as an adult, walking the dog? Like, everyone has done that, right? So you're going to know if you take the wrong step and your welly falls off, you're getting wet socks, right? So your strategy has to change.
Just right, I can't help myself, right? We've got one of the walks that we take the dogs on has a river that you need to cross, and it has these massive boulders. Like they're not stones, they're massive boulders in it, right? But I have a little like freak out in my brain of that moment where you need to take the step where you've got like you're stretching one leg to reach the big boulder because there's a reasonable gap. It's not that big, but there's a reasonable gap between them. And just when you were saying about that analogy bit, Andy just calmly, like a normal human being, steps across those stones. I just get into the river and get wet socks.
Yeah.
Two
And I
different
can tell
strategy.
you would do that as well. I can tell that that would be you, but that's also a really okay strategy because that's the part of your strategy, which is, do you know what? I've got no other way of getting there. I'm going to get down and dirty, and this is how I'm going to get there this time. It's that. It doesn't matter, does it? Whether you've got wet socks or not. It's a bit like, when your marketing strategy is to go live, that actually, this is a prime example. Come in. This is a live example, right? My marketing strategy for 360 is to go live and for us to share our true identities, our true personalities. And then in walks a little person with all of his elephants. And that's you losing a wellie. Do you want to sit on my lap? That's you losing a Wellington in the stream, isn't it? It's exactly the same. This strategy isn't going to stop. We've still got to show our personalities, but I've now just added a little person.
I love the fact that we've got all the elephants too to snuggle with. That's just cute, isn't it? But it's funny when Vic and I were talking about doing these lives, we talked about the fact that actually doing 14 days in a row, there is gonna be dogs barking, little ones joining in. And we're okay with that. And that's, I guess that's part of the personality that we wanted to get across, is that we teach all sorts of stuff. And we had a brilliant conversation today. And it's relevant because it was a strategic conversation. We teach so many things about not being perfect, about not aiming for perfection, about being okay with things not going quite the way that you want to. And one of the things that we teach is you can plan for the fact that things aren't going to go the way that you want them to, the way that you would plan them to. And I know that Greg's away this week. And we are talking earlier on today, Vic said, Greg's away. I know I'm probably going to get joined by a little one. And I'm like, great, we'll, we'll deal with it, we'll cope with it. It's a strategy.
Yeah, it is. And because you plan for that, like I totally forgot Greg was going to be away. So that wasn't in my plan. But when he reminded me last night that he wasn't going to be here tonight, he's actually in Belgium, I was a bit like, oh, we've got the Q&A at 8 o'clock. And I was thinking, actually, do you know what? Let's just plan for the kids to join me. And if they don't, it's a bonus. But actually, it's all right now, isn't it? Quite like going live with mummy, don't you? Yeah. But also, it's another thing of you need to be able to work around any commitment that you have in your life, like completely need to be able to work around any commitment. Nicola's doing a reindeer at you. And what I find is if you are prepared to work in all situations of your life, there is actually very minimal time to fail because you're just so adaptable.
Yeah. And this is, again, it's all part of strategy. If part of your strategy is, I know that curveballs are going to come my way, I know that they're going to, this one has the potential to knock me for six, this one has the potential to be manageable. Go back to my inability to step across stepping stones. I know I am incapable of doing a normal activity like that. So I adapt and get wet socks. It's not, if I saw getting across the river as using the stepping stones and any other method is a failure, then I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't go on that particular walk. And
And
I've
what a shame, like you're doing yourself an injustice. There's a really incredible person that I listen to every single day. She's called Mel Robbins,
I
and
thought you were
she's
going to say my name then.
oh yeah, no, it's not you. So it's she does the 5 4 3 2 1 method, right? And she's literally incredible. She is the icon you need in your life to overcome any fear because she's just basically like get up and do it. And I watched something of hers today, and it was very much teaching yourself to overcome any kind of fear. First, you need to teach yourself how to overcome any kind of I don't want to get out of bed this morning. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I can't be bothered. It's teaching yourself and massaging that muscle within you to say, actually, it doesn't matter how I feel, I'm going to get out of bed. And the reason she teaches this in such a inspiring and strong way is because she's seen so much more of life and life has given so much back to her because every day she's had a bad day and didn't want to get out of bed, she still did. And she woke up and she went on that walk and she see the beautiful sunrise and she's had 2 hours extra in her day rather than being in bed. And it's those bits that actually build your resilience, and you can have any strategy in the world, but if you don't have resilience your strategy is never going to work.
And I think partnering resilience is two more things. So I think there needs to be three things in the mix: resilience, being okay with failure, and being okay that your route might not be your idea of perfection. So dropping that perfectionism, like getting rid of that perfectionism. I, I think part of resilience, but it is in addition to it, is this being okay not to succeed. In Vic's example, where you go to build a bridge and it breaks, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do something. In my example, where I'm incapable of stepping across stepping stones, doesn't mean that I can't get to the other side. Just means that I'm going to go it differently. Interestingly, from Andy's perspective, I failed because I've got wet socks. From my perspective, with the way my mind works, I succeeded because I'm on the other side. It's all to do with how you see things, and the perfectionism stops you, I think, from seeing the solutions that are there. I can only cross this river if I am good at doing the stepping stones. Who says you have to
What
use the stepping stones?
what's important to you, isn't it? Like some people have different priorities and they might, I use appearance as an example because that's something everyone I think can relate to. So some people would stop going live because they are so worried about how they look on camera and getting hit in the face with a ruler. But they're so worried about how they look on camera that it stops them from going live. So that priority is more important to them for their appearance than actually doing what they need to do and showing up online. Whereas if your priority is actually, I'm going to show up no matter how I look, that's more important. That means your priority is just, it's a different way. And neither of them are wrong, but you have to plan for what your priorities are and then make a plan that fits your personal choice.
I think that's a really good point, isn't it? If you know within yourself, there's no way that I'm going to be comfortable going live unless I've had 15 minutes to get my appearance to a way that I feel comfortable. That's not a problem. Always schedule that in. Don't avoid it. So today, the reason why we have a little one joining us is because I couldn't do any other time today than this evening because I've done I went down to the valleys today. I was in the car for over 4 hours today driving and then out dropping leaflets through letterboxes. For me, I don't mind that I'm sat here with a hair that's like been in the wind and the rain today. That bit doesn't bother me. But what would bother me would be doing a live on the hoof in a car worrying about the signal. So to Vic's point about like you do your priorities, don't you? It's like actually I can cope with the fact that I'm actually quite tired tonight and I look like I've been dragged through a hedge backward. That doesn't, neither of those two things bother me. What would have bothered me would be arranging to do it at a time where the kids were at school but I couldn't have a reliable signal. And to my mind, we would deliver a substandard product because I'd be cutting in and out, and that would bother me more. Doesn't make, to Vic's point, it doesn't make me right on my priorities, but we've built in for those. So it was categorical when we were arranging a time for today. Categorical, I can't do daytime on Monday because I'm out all day.
Yeah, and it works likewise, like I could have said, right, Nick, do it on your own tonight because, I've Greg's away and the kids are here and it wouldn't have worked either because actually these kids are part of me, they're part of my brand. And, if I don't have childcare, I don't have childcare, I can still have a really successful independent business. So can everyone else. It doesn't matter.
I see like this example as like on this example, I'm using the stepping stones and you're walking through the river. It's just that whole, as long as you get to the other side, it really doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you're doing it in a way that's true and authentic to yourself and not, it's like if I could get a gift to everybody, it would be a gift of being comfortable with who you are because I think it's the most freeing thing in the entire world getting to the point in my life where I'm really comfy not to put makeup on because it isn't who I am, and be present. And Vic's really comfortable with the fact that kids are my life. They're the reason I do everything. It's always going to be unique to you and who you are. And just because it's important to somebody else doesn't mean it should be important to you. That authenticism can only come from inside. And we're so unique as individuals. You can't copy somebody else. People think there's comfort in copying somebody else. But all that comes from copying somebody else is discomfort because it goes against who you naturally are.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think that rounds off the session with, let's just do a little recap, right? So we've covered in the last two sessions, three sessions actually. Your vision is your dream, your goals are your stepping stones, and your strategy is your action plan on how you're going to get there, which can change every single day if it needs to. So, Nick, tomorrow we've got another session. It's going to be
We
about
have.
30 tomorrow because we have got our fabulous Q&A with our Blue community members.
Yeah.
So in Elevate Unfiltered, we have got our Q&A at 10:30 for all of our lovely members. Yes, you'll be at school. And then 11:30 we will be live on our page again. And I cannot believe tomorrow is day 9.
I know, and it's your turn to pick the topic tomorrow, so I can't wait to see what that is. I think we should do elephants.
I think Seb should pick it. What topic shall we have tomorrow? Elephants. Elephants. There you go.
Elephants it is.
It is.
Take care, everybody. Have a lovely evening. Night, night, Sarah.
Bye. Rabbit.